And it wasn't to end there. Terrorist attacks by the MKO continued into the 1990s and beyond, with a series of mortar attacks and hit-and-run raids on government and military targets, but also numerous intimidating armed attacks on civilians, whose crime in the eyes of the MKO was nothing more than their support for the Islamic Republic.
ترورهایی که حتی در خانه و هنگام نماز یا خوردن افطار در خانه‌های مردم معمولی انجام شده. تنها دلیل و استدلال اونها هم خودشون این رو گفتن. مثلا فلان بقال رو رفتن ترور کردن، تو اطلاعیه رسما گفتن چون از نیروهای وابسته به رژیم بود، یعنی همین هواداری از جمهوری اسلامی برای اونها کافی بود که اونها رو ترور کنن. در واقع فقط به خاطر یک اعتقاد سیاسی این مردم عادی ترور می شدن.
Even after the US invasion of Iraq in 1993, the MKO were allowed to maintain a presence in Iraq, close to the Iranian border, at a site in Diyala province known as Camp Ashraf. Earlier this year, the control of Camp Ashraf was returned to the Iraqi government, which has stated its intention to expel its members. The move was timed with the removal of the MKO from the British and the European Union's list of terrorist organizations.
آیا اتحادیه اروپا میتونن یه جواب روشنی بدن که بگن ما این جنایتکاران رو از لیست تروریستی خارج کردیم؟ جواب وجدان ملت ما رو چه میدن؟ جواب خانواده شهدا رو چه میدن؟ جواب وجدانهای بیدار رو چه میدن؟ جواب ایرانیایی که چندین هزار شهید دادن در رابطه با اینا چی میدن؟
In recent years, separatist movements in Iran's border areas have also employed terrorist tactics in their attempts to put pressure on the Iranian government, but not without the help of foreign powers who have an interest in regional instability.
In the past couple of decades, and especially throughout the Cold War, we've always seen powers using groups and factions in order to form a proxy war. So this sort of, again, asymmetric sort of war that is via a proxy is a new thing that the U.S. is trying, and the U.S. and its Western allies are trying in the Middle East. This is, I think, a new way of putting pressure on states that are well resisting the symmetric pressures.
Though the majority of Iran's Kurdish population live peacefully in the western Iranian provinces of Kurdistan and Azerbaijan, a small minority, with the encouragement and backing of the United States, have been responsible in recent years for the deaths of over 120 Iranian security personnel. A terrorist group calling themselves the Party of Free Life in Kurdistan, or PEJAK, has been active in Iran since 2004.
به اعتقاد من پژاک جزء دسته‌ای قرار میگیره در PKK در دوران اول خودش به مثابه یک جنبش اجتماعی ما میتونستیم محسوب بکنیم. نوعی تروریسمی که بر پایه‌های یک جنبش اجتماعی کردی در دل به اصطلاح سیاست‌های کرد ستیز دولت ترکیه بود. دولت ترکیه اجتناب شدیدی داشت از اینکه حتی هویت قومی رو هم بپذیره. البته امروز خیلی سیاست‌های تعدیل‌گرایانه‌ای رو پیش گرفته.
PEJAK was formed after the 9/11 attacks, when the PKK, a Kurdish separatist group operating in Turkey, changed its name and formed a number of splinter groups in order to escape terrorist designation by Turkey and the United States. Since the US-led invasion of Iraq, instability in the country has provided fertile ground for terrorist groups, and clashes between PEJAK and Iranian forces have increased significantly. In 2006 alone, there were 15 PEJAK attacks, killing a total of 50 Iranian nationals. The group has also been active in Turkey, Iraq and Syria. The attacks have forced Iranian security personnel to enter Iraqi territory in pursuit of the militants and bomb suspected PEJAK and PKK bases across the border. In 2006, investigative journalist Seymour Hersh revealed that US troops were establishing contact with anti-government ethnic minority groups in Iran, such as the PEJAK rebels. In November 2006, Hersh wrote, "Israel and the United States have also been working together in support of a Kurdish resistance group known as the Party for Free Life in Kurdistan. The group has been conducting clandestine cross-border forays into Iran. According to Hirsch, Israel had been providing the Kurdish group with equipment and training. The group had also been given a list of targets inside Iran of interest to the United States. In January 2009, Iranian officials announced that Peshawar had been comprehensively defeated by Iranian forces. But earlier this year, a resurgent Peshawar was able to strike again, killing a number of local officers in an attack on a police station in Ravonsar in the western Iranian province of Kermanshah.
نوعاً درگیری هایی که در مناطق شمال غرب ما داشتیم و در مناطق شمال غرب از مرز ترکیه تا کردستان عراق داشتیم نوعاً با جریان هایی بوده که در دل خاک ایران یعنی ایرانی نبودن، جریان هایی بودن که خارج از مرزها شکل گرفته بودن و مبارزه با اینا صورت می گرفته. ما در سالهای اخیر در مناطق کردی خودمون هیچ درگیری بین دولت و کرد ایرانی نداریم. عمده مبارزاتی که دولت ایران در این مناطق داشته با نوعاً به اصطلاح جریان‌هایی بودن که فعالیت مسلحانه و تروریستیشون رو بیرون مرزها سامان دادن، ایرانی نیستن.
Obviously there used to be a cause for the fight, but Kurds in Iraq are no longer an outcast. They have their political rights. They do take part in the political structure of Iraq. The same is happening slowly in Turkey. Therefore, there is no reason why we could justify a resurgence of Kurdish separatism, except if there is an outsider force involved in order to bring this sort of outdated cause back to the political scene. We find out from the intelligence sources that even the people arrested were not Iranian nationals, and they have been brought from all over the region to perform in an operation that was designed by obviously a greater force than just a small faction.
Iran's eastern border areas have also suffered at the hands of the terrorist threat, this time in the form of a Taliban-inspired group based in Pakistan known as Jundullah, or God's Brigade. Jundullah have been responsible for numerous attacks in the southeastern Iranian province of Sistan-Baluchistan, targeting Iranian security forces and stoking ethnic tensions among Iran's Baluchi minority. In February 2007, Jundullah claimed responsibility for a bomb attack on a bus carrying members of Iran's Revolutionary Guards, killing 11. Iranian police arrested Nasrullah Zehi shortly after the attack. Zehi was sentenced to death after confessing to perpetrating the Zahedan bus attack, as well as the killings of 4 Iranian policemen, 2 civilians, and a bank robbery. Iranian officials say that Zehi also confessed that the attacks were part of plans by the United States to provoke ethnic and religious violence in Iran.
جندالله درست نقطه در نظر ایدئولوژیک تفاوت‌های بسیار زیادی با PKK داره. PKK بیشتر یک جنبش ملی‌گرای و بر اساس هویت‌های قومی فعالیت می‌کرد در گذشته. جندالله بیشتر هرچند در درون یک جریان قومی شکل گرفته اما بیشتر بار ایدئولوژیک جدی‌تری داره. به نوعی جریان‌های افراطی آثار جریان‌های افراطی سلفیگری رو ما می‌تونیم در دل جندالله هم مشاهده بکنیم.
A group like Jundullah is one of these factions that it might have been there for a while, but definitely the political cause is again not very clear, and the motivations, they have yet not made a clear statement of their intentions and their requirements, or basically their goals and objectives. They have not voiced out these. What they are trying to say is that we've been ignored and we're capable of doing so and so. We're capable of kidnapping border guards and using the same brutal methods as the Taliban has done in Afghanistan.
Recent months have seen increasing successes by Iranian security forces in thwarting attempts by Jundullah to attack Iranian targets.